On August 3rd and 4th, 2009, 144 delegates attended the International Conference on Woody Biomass Utilization at Mississippi State University. During the conference, I had the privilege of interviewing several delegates to get their insights on the future of biomass utilization. These are clips from 3 of those interviews. The focus is mainly on policy. Bruce Arnold is a member of the National Steering Committee for 25 by 25, America's Energy Future.
We're primarily a biomass organization, so the farm and forest communities are the ones that we are especially concerned with. And if the Waxman-Markey legislation that has already passed in the House of Representatives at the end of June moves through the U.S. Senate and gets approved, and the President signs it into law as a cap-and-trade proposition, obviously the organizations that are going to be capped are pretty much the fossil fuel generators or users, like the electric power industries that burn coal, for example. But the farm and forest organizations will not be capped, and because growing plants and trees actually need carbon dioxide, water, and photosynthesis to grow, and to the degree that you do additionality, creating more than existed at a baseline period, then that should be a tradable offset, so that somebody that is capped, that can't meet their cap right now, wants to buy some offsets so that they can continue on until they can make the investments that are necessary to meet the cap. Of course, that's going to continue on because the cap keeps getting tighter and tighter through time until by 2050, if the legislation goes through, the cap is going to pretty much shut down most of the fossil fuel industry. So we really need to go to renewables.
Dennis Becker is assistant professor at the University of Minnesota's Department of Forest Resources.
One of the things that we know in woody biomass utilization throughout North America, we know the challenges, we know the opportunities, promises, whether it relates to climate change, mitigation, wildfire fuels reduction, risk reduction, economic development, renewable energy. There's all of these opportunities, these great things that biomass can provide. And we know a lot of the problems. But one of the things that my research deals with, we try to take a different angle and identify whether or not we're framing the problems correctly. And I use that broadly because what's correct in one place may not be correct in another place. And so that's what our research tries to address, is looking at case studies across the lower 48 states and identifying issues like supply, like appeals and litigation, a variety of conventional wisdoms related to forest products industry, transportation. Basically, our framing of what's inhibiting us from reaching these potentials, all these great things we talked about biomass utilization potential doing. And so through our case studies, we try to identify site-specific challenges and tease out whether or not supply biomass, consistency of supply off of federal lands, we deal mostly with federal lands, consistency of supply truly is the underlying issue that's inhibiting biomass utilization, or if it's a combination of other factors as well. I'm coming at this from a policy standpoint, so one of the concerns I have is that if we don't frame the problem correctly, then the policies that we put in place to try to address those perceived problems might be incorrect. It might be solving the wrong problem, might be passing policy incentives that have unintended consequences that we haven't thought about, or perhaps we're developing policies that aren't really building on or creating the synergies that we're trying to create because we haven't quite framed the problem correctly. And so that incomplete framing of the problem leads to a variety of unintended problems in terms of, and that manifests itself in the inability to accomplish biomass utilization.
Kristen Kerosene is Energy Policy Analyst with the Environmental Defense Fund.
I think we see a lot of opportunity and promise in the potential for biomass utilization, especially in this part of the country, in the south and the southeast. I think there's a lot of need to help out landowners with some of the markets for their products that have been declining over the years. And we think biomass also has a lot of carbon and environmental benefits compared with fossil fuels. That being said, I think sustainability has to be a big part of any policy that gets developed for incentives for increased biomass utilization in energy markets for fuels or for power, electricity. And, you know, it's all being developed today. We have the Renewable Fuel Standard, which is very restrictive. We have the Farm Bill, Federal Farm Bill definition, which is very lenient and allows pretty much anything to qualify as biomass. And so Environmental Defense Fund believes that probably the right approach is somewhere in between, where we've got some good standards in place to protect against overharvesting, to prevent too much conversion of natural forests, and to address some of the water quality and also air quality and other issues associated with using this resource.
Our sincere thanks to all the participants, and thank you for watching. The full interviews with these individuals will be available in separate videos on this website. Industry analyst Pete Stewart is President and CEO of Forest to Market. Our thanks to all the interviewees. For full interviews, please watch the individual videos on this website.